money-hauled truck driver and the host of The Naturalist Capitalist. I'm surprised he's wearing clothes with a podcast called that. Reed Coverdale joins me. Hi, Reed.
How you doing, Kennedy?
I'm super. I'm so glad you're here. Olivia Rondeau was shouting you out last week. Lo and behold, you appear on the showroom as though we rubbed the bottle and the genie flew out, named you. So let's talk about this. How did it start, and what is your part?
In the United States, I'm actually not connected with anyone organizing a protest at the time, but all this stuff with truckers that's going on in Canada, it goes back a long way. Truck drivers have been oppressed for a long time by the government. We've had ridiculous regulations on us that make it hard to work, and they just keep adding on stuff. And then with the COVID regulations, it's made it even more impossible. So what do you expect people to do if you push them hard enough, even though the world economy does depend on them, even though the shelves in the stores are not going to be stocked if they stop running? If you push them hard enough, they're going to have no other choice, and that's what's happening in Canada. That's what's happening all around the world, and unfortunately it could also happen here, and people aren't going to be happy about it. So the government had better start thinking about what they're doing and think about reversing course.
Yeah, it's really interesting because we didn't realize how much we need truckers until the supply chain crisis really punched people in the tic-tac sack. And then they started feeling it when store shelves were empty. They couldn't get supplies, components for manufacturing, and a lot of things have been very, very scarce because of that. So obviously we need truckers. So forcing more mandates onto truckers, which is a dwindling body to begin with, is so antithetical to what it might take to end the supply chain crisis. So you've got a bunch of things happening at once, but does it surprise you that big government, wherever it is, like their first reaction is to make something worse because they can?
No, not at all. And both Democrats and Republicans have been responsible for this throughout the entire time I've had my CDL. They've taken tens of thousands of truck drivers off the road.
I know what that is
in the
because
last
of
couple
Narcos.
of years.
A commercial driver's license.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, and then there's been more ridiculous training that you have to get. Lots of states are trying to make it so you have to basically get a college degree in order to get a driver's license. And it's funny that the Democrats get so upset about this protest, and what it's really about is they don't want workers to have rights. They don't want workers to make their own decisions. They want to have power over these workers. They want to have unions controlling them. They want to have government institutions controlling them. They're angry that workers are trying to make their own individual decisions. You ask your average worker what he thinks about OSHA, what he thinks about unions, you'll find a huge disparity between what the people who claim to be for workers' rights and what the actual workers out in the field think.
Yeah, and we saw that big disconnect in the 2016 presidential election here in these United States. But it's really interesting. I mean, it's solitary work, isn't it? You're not around a bunch of people. It's not a collective the way it might be on a factory floor. So when will big government and big unions decouple? Could this be an impetus?
Yeah, I think people are finally waking up to the fact that government institutions and big unions and big organized, different big organizations, they really don't care about the workers. It's becoming more and more obvious. And unfortunately, people are going to feel pain. Unfortunately, the shelves are not going to be stocked. Unfortunately, the economy is going to come to even more of a halt than it already has. And I just hope people start waking up and realizing that the problem is the government. The problem is centralization.
Yes.
We need to decentralize. We need to take ownership over our own lives again. And we need to live and let live, or this country is going to end as we know it.
Who cares about workers more, AOC or Dave Smith?
Dave Smith. Dave Smith 2024, by the way. He's my man all the way.
See, I knew you'd like that one. Reed Coverdale, thanks so much. Appreciate talking to you.
Thank you, Kennedy.